What's up everybody, FarmerQ here, and on today we're going to lay some compost down in the garden, and we're also going to go over 13 different seed varieties that we can plant in the middle of October after we lay that compost down. So stick with us, hang with us, and we're about to go on a little adventure and get some more work done as we get deeper into the fall. So let's get it. Alright y'all, so the first thing we're going to do here is pull back some of these wood chips temporarily so that we can have access to the layer of compost that's on the bottom here. And what we're going to do from that layer of compost there is we're going to actually add to our compost from that spot. We're going to go ahead and do away with all remaining pepper plants in the garden. So yes, that means the Trinidad Scorpion, the Sugar Rush Peach, they're going on out of there. And the reason why we're getting them out of here and letting them ripen the rest of the way inside, the ones that will actually ripen, is because a storm came through and just butchered the structure of the plants and everything. So we're just gonna make use of what we have with the storm that came through. And y'all, check this out. We got beans everywhere, literally everywhere. I know it's a little hard to see in some spots, but we got beans everywhere. So we have a bean harvest to get to. We're gonna actually save that for another day though. I just wanted to show y'all that real quick. At this point, we're just taking apart the existing irrigation that's on our pallet beds, because we're actually gonna take the pallet beds out and we're gonna put some potted plants there in the place of it. And yeah, the pallets did good for a little bit at the beginning of the season, but what I came to find was that as the warm season progressed, they just needed a little bit too much water. So they likely would do well into the fall season, but I'm gonna go ahead and put some pots over here and get some pots established. So no worries, no issues. We're just making do with what we gotta do. Dismantling the Sugar Rush Peach Pepper here. It's time, it's time. A lot of those peppers are fully ripened, but some of them have just a little bit more to go. So we're just getting the rest of the way there. The Reaper cometh. All right, we're gonna cut these at the root so these massive root systems can go right back to the soil and return back some of what we've taken. But it is time for these big babies to now be out of the garden, so let's get it. All right, let's pull these bad boys out. So at this point, we've gotten everything ready to start our rake action. And all we're doing at this point is really just pulling the wood chips back so that we can get ready to lay our compost down and get everything ready in that particular regard. And we're just keeping everything moving. But at this point, we need to really clear the area so we can make sure that we can actually access everything that we're trying to access. So now, while we were raking things, we kind of had the drip get in the way. So we decided that we were gonna just take it and put it over the fence over there. The neighbors don't mind, hopefully. We're making really good progress now. So at this point, we've gotten the first bed cleared out, and we're just going to the next beds to clear the wood chips and get the area workable and have it exactly like we want to have it. Y'all, believe it or not, all this work took quite a bit of time, but we really tried to bring it to you in a way that is a little bit more enjoyable. I enjoyed it while I was out there working, but we don't want to be sitting here for 2 hours watching me work. So we got it condensed down nice and sweet for y'all. And we were using the rake, but we started to use our hands to kind of clear the area because we noticed that our hands were more sufficient for the task. So now we're just checking out the compost before we dump it down and start to get our beds prepped for how we're about to put it down. And as you can see, I'm just coming in with the bags and dumping them in the spots on the bed that I want to spread them from. And check that out, it's just so rich. We come with our third bag, and from this point, we're pretty much good to start spreading, but we gotta actually spread our bags on the other beds as well. It's a little bit harder to work with on this one because we couldn't actually pull the drip irrigation up over the fence, but it turned out to not be an issue.
Y'all see in my garden, mycelium just wants to take over as soon as we take the light away. We got mycelium trying to go all over the place. So now we'll go ahead and spread it, get it in place. I'm gonna use the soft end of it to kind of make it go exactly where I want it to go and everything.
And now that we're getting everything where we want it to go, this part of the process is actually coming to an end. We just need to get everything spread out as much as we can on these two side rows because we actually have plants in the two side rows, so we have to work around them a little bit more. But that's okay because we're actually going to get a more wide spread on the compost with those two beds. And as you can see, we're pretty much coming to a close with it, but now we're just adding our wood chips.
So what we have here is a half and half mixture of our rainbow mix and our oyster shell meal. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna take this and spread this around everywhere where we added our compost to the garden. And I'm not gonna try to make it too complicated. I wanna keep it simple. And instead of doing this much per square foot or blah, 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 what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna use this little container right here, and I'm gonna make sure that we have a nice even spread all over the garden. Because I'm not trying to exactly hit every nutrient spot that we need to hit, but I'm trying to make sure that whatever I provide through our watering is gonna be enough to get the plants the rest of the way through. And because I've been adding compost over the last 2.5 years or so, our carbon base, which is our bank account, has built up enough to where we can take more nutrients than before. That doesn't mean that we're gonna go off putting a whole bunch of nutrients into the garden, but we're definitely gonna make sure that we have what we need. So as you can see, we have a nice covering of amendments on the bed. Nothing too crazy. You can still see the soil, but you can also see that there is a nice coat of amendments on top of the soil.
Just get a really nice spread in at this point.
All right, so now that we've gotten our amendments laid, we got our compost laid, I'm gonna come through and I'm just gonna give it a slight shuffle and bring those wood chips back in from the side.
So at this point, like I said, we're just giving it a nice mix up, and we're gonna reincorporate those wood chips in just a moment, but we gotta make sure we're mixed up good.
I'm gonna come over here and just kind of wiggle our drip just right on top. It's not gonna be hard. In fact, this is gonna help a lot. So we're gonna go ahead and do it. And I don't think it's disrupting anything. So go ahead and bring that to the top layer.
When you're mixing these amendments up, don't worry too much about not mixing it perfectly even.
All right, so now that we've gotten that all settled out, we're just gonna bring our edge of wood chips back into the situation here. Then by nature, we're also just gonna have some more of the compost come in. That's all right. And yeah, there's not gonna be as many wood chips coming back, but that's all right because it's not as hot outside, so we don't need as much of a mulch covering. We will come back with the with more mulch, and we'll just cover it. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and bring our drip over here back to where it's supposed to be at. Just like that. We got our staples right over here.
And at this point, we're just getting our holes preset to actually plant our seeds that we'll be planting. And this is part of the staging process. And what I mean by staging is we're prepping the whole process before we actually do the action. And what this does, it just allows us to keep our mind at ease as we go through the process and get everything exactly how we want to have it.
All right, y'all, so we're gonna go over the 13 different seeds that you can plant in the middle of October, and we're gonna give it to you straight. The first one we got is the dragon carrot, and it's pelleted, so it's gonna be a lot easier for the seed to find its way and everything, but we're still gonna plant it shallow. Next up is the Paris Island lettuce from our bro Turf Therapy. Next up is the red giant mustard greens, and these are from Chef Pam herself. We got the coral carrot. I'm excited to try these. We're gonna be putting the carrots that we plant inside of the containers though. So we're gonna be moving those over here to the right side so that we can put those inside the container. We got the Chinese pink celery, and I think I'm gonna plant this inside of the trash can planter with the herbs over there. Next up we have the blue Scotch Dwarf Kale, and I'm really excited for this one. The kale that I grew last year was a warrior and would not be put down for anything. So if this one has any of the resilience that the last one had, we're gonna have fun with it. Next up is the Walton 29 broccoli. We grew this last year. It was delicious and we had a lot of success with it. So we're gonna give it another go this year. Next up is the Cauliflower De Jezzi. We've actually germinated this earlier in the season, but we ran out of time to bring it outside and everything. So we're gonna actually direct sow this one outside this time. Next up we have the green wave mustard. Oh yeah, I love me any kind of green, so excited for this one. Next up we have the American purple top rutabaga. And I've never grown this before. We're gonna give it a shot, and we're gonna definitely be using some recipes out of the cookbook that we picked up earlier. Next up is the Kurubi de Masein snow pea. We actually planted this outside before, but when I was pulling the watermelon vines, they kind of pulled these out with it. So yeah, we're gonna put these in the ground again. Next up we have the Morris heading collards. We're definitely gonna give these a shot again because these were my favorite collards last year, so gonna definitely have to give these another shot. And last but not least, we have the Monstro de Veriflay spinach, and these are supposed to have bigger leaves. I grew them last year. They survived through the frost and they were really strong, so we're gonna give these another shot, and we're gonna try to get them to be a little bit bigger and more productive this year. So these are the 13 different seed varieties that we're gonna be planting today. We're gonna be doing about 5 of each, and we're gonna get some water down on them, and we're gonna hope for the best. So let's get it. And our holes are a little bit big, but that's okay. I'm gonna pack them light. Gonna make sure that we get a nice germination going. we're keeping our holes kind of depressed because these seeds are really small. We want to make sure that they get germination. So at this point, we're just taking an opportunity to go ahead and plant the rest of the seeds. I already took note of what we'll be planting in the particular areas, but I think it'll be fun to kind of keep it a surprise for you guys, so that as the season goes on, you can see what pops up and we can see what we're gonna do with it. Kind of keep the whole adventure-esque feel to the whole journey. So this is the point where I'm just making my spots for the seeds on carrots, and I'm gonna plant half or 15 dragon, 15 of the other variety, as well as 7 of both inside the middle container. So we're half and halving it inside the middle container. All right, those are planted. We're gonna do half dragon carrots, so we're gonna go ahead and drop 7 in here and then 8 of the coral. We're almost done planting our carrots, but I'm putting multiples of this particular carrot, which is the coral carrot, in there because the coral carrot was not pelleted. So I'm just gonna thin them out as they germinate. I'm gonna do the same with the other carrots as well as they germinate, but this is just the pink celery going down, and it's so tiny that I'm just putting it on the top layer as opposed to burying it. And I'm being really particular about that because the seeds are teeny tiny and they don't need much soil over the top of them. So now, as you can see, we're just getting some water down. And we're making sure we get good coverage on all the beds because we want to make sure that all of our seeds germinate, or most of them. All right, y'all, we have got after it today. We're finally done. We got the water down, we got the compost down, we got the seeds down. We're all good to go. We even got the pallets moved and we rerouted the irrigation to water the pots. So y'all know what that means. That's FarmerQ out.